Lorne Malvo, Fargo TV series. Let's kick things off with a guy who is basically the devil in a parka. Lorne Malvo, played by Billy Bob Thornton in Fargo, isn't just a hitman, he's an agent of chaos. This man doesn't kill for money or revenge. He does it because, well, why not? He's like a human experiment testing how far people can fall into darkness when given just a little push. He turns small town folks into criminals just for the fun of it, and his eerie calmness makes him even scarier. If Malvo asks you a question, you better answer carefully or you might not get another chance. Anton Chigurh, No Country for Old Men. Next up, we have Anton Chigurh, a hitman who treats murder like a coin toss. No, literally, he carries around a coin and lets fate decide whether you live or die because, normal people just flip a coin to pick a restaurant. He has a haircut that screams, "I don't have human emotions," and his expression never changes even when he's casually executing someone with a cattle bolt gun. His complete lack of empathy makes him one of the most chilling villains ever. You can't reason with him, you can't predict him, and honestly, you probably shouldn't even look at him funny. The Joker, the Dark Knight, the Joker, the Chaos King. Indeed, Heath Ledger's Dark Knight villain was so erratic that even Gotham's most ruthless criminals dreaded him. Joker wants to see the world burn, unlike other villains who crave power, fortune, or retribution. Rather than control, he wants devastation. There's no overarching goal, empire, or legacy. He loves chaos and only finds satisfaction in showing that everyone is as warped as he is. Joker enters a room full of crime leaders, does a pencil trick, and escapes without witnesses. Instead of demanding respect, he terrorizes. His very presence makes even the most powerful criminals sweat. He's scary because of his thinking, not his aggression. Unlike most gangster or supervillains, Joker is illogical. He lacks fear, morality, and predictability. He acts randomly, but that makes them effective. He's an orchestrator of chaos who enjoys seeing others struggle to keep up. Joker burns the laws, crushes them into dust, and laughs as they blow away. He is chaos, and the Dark Knight shows that the deadliest villains don't always want to rule. They want to destroy everything. Ramsay Bolton, Game of Thrones. Look, Game of Thrones had a lot of villains, but Ramsay Bolton, this guy took evil to a hobbyist level. Joffrey might have been a brat with power, but Ramsay? He was a psychopath with a castle. His idea of fun includes hunting actual humans, feeding people to dogs, and turning Theon Greyjoy into reek, which, fun fact, is also the sound we made every time he was on screen. Unlike other villains, Ramsay doesn't even pretend to have a noble cause. He just likes being a monster. He's like that kid who burned ants with a magnifying glass but somehow worse. Homelander, The Boys. Imagine if Superman was an emotionally unstable narcissist with mommy issues. That's Homelander. This guy can fly, shoot laser beams, and hear everything, which, considering his ego, means he probably listens for people talking about how amazing he is 24/7. He smiles like an all-American hero, but will snap your neck if you blink at him the wrong way. The scariest part? He thinks he's the good guy. He thinks everyone should worship him. And if they don't, well, let's just say he has exploded people's heads just for looking at him funny. Patrick Bateman, American Psycho. Patrick Bateman is what happens when capitalism, insecurity, and way too many crunches at the gym combine into one person. He's rich, successful, and oh yeah, completely unhinged. His biggest rival, a guy with a slightly nicer business card. His idea of unwinding involves murder sprees and monologues about 80s pop music. The best part? He might have imagined half of it. Is he actually a killer, or just a guy with really bad intrusive thoughts? The movie never tells us, and honestly, that somehow makes it worse. Kefka Palazzo, Final Fantasy VI. He doesn't require a great master plan, which makes Kefka Palazzo one of the most dangerous and unexpected villains in game history. Kefka is motivated by chaos and destruction, unlike other villains who desire power for conquest, retribution, or perverted justice. He was the first person to get Magatech injection, which gave him power but damaged his psyche. Kefka lacks empathy, morality, and reason. Killing is fun for him. He poisons countries, destroys cities, and betrays friends because he wants to. Sadistic pleasure drives his deeds, not strategy. The fact that Kefka succeeds makes him scarier. He wins the narrative, unlike many villains. After becoming God, he destroys the planet and demands adoration from the few survivors. Kefka wants to destroy, unlike other godlike villains who want power or knowledge. He feels life is pointless and only worth watching burn. Walter White, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad's protagonist turned antagonist Walter White is one of television's most complicated characters. Bryan Cranston plays Walter, a mild-mannered high school chemistry teacher with terminal lung cancer. He cooks meth with his former pupil, Jesse Pinkman, to avoid bankrupting his family. Walter's crime is first portrayed as a desperate effort to protect his family. Later, it becomes evident that it's about power, pride, and ego, not simply money. The change is so subtle that spectators scarcely notice when he becomes a villain. By season 5, Walter White has abandoned morals. With cold calculation, he manipulates, betrays, and kills. He poisons Brock to control Jesse, allows Jane Margolis die without a care, and orders mass murders to conceal his tracks. His famous quote, "I'm dangerous. I knock is when he accepts his darkness." Walter is scary because he still views himself as his own hero. He explains every horrific deed as defending his family, but he does it for himself. He confesses in the series finale, "I did it for myself. Liked it. I was proficient. Actually, I was alive," is a terrifying self-awareness. Johann Liebert, monster. Devil in human skin. Johann Liebert evil would be Johann Liebert. Calm, smiling, and incredibly nice. Not another villain, he. Beware of the person escaping by reading about him. Best monster, best suit Johann, tall, blonde, attractive, and angelic, is ideal. He speaks softly. His street appearance suggests a businessman or diplomat, not a mass killer who can persuade others to commit themselves. Johann seldom commits suicide, coerces you. He discovers your deepest fears and speaks the phrases to make you behave against your best interests. He may cause suicides, friend hostility, and mayhem without trying. Monster shows young Johann talking to neo-Nazis to murder each other, non-screamer. He doesn't threaten, just talking. Everyone in the room dies or wishes they did once he finishes. Bill Cipher, Gravity Falls. At first glance, Bill Cipher might look like a quirky, one-eyed Dorito, but don't let that fool you. He's a full-blown cosmic nightmare. Unlike most villains who at least follow some kind of logic, Bill exists purely to spread madness. He can bend reality, warp minds, and manipulate time itself, all while cracking jokes like he's doing stand-up comedy at the end of the world. He doesn't kill because he has to. He does it because it's fun. And worst of all, he loves watching people suffer. His endgame? Complete and utter chaos, turning the entire universe into his personal playground of nightmares. Frank Booth, Blue Velvet. Frank Booth isn't just a villain, he's a walking, talking nightmare played by Dennis Hopper. This guy is unpredictable, violent, and fueled by whatever unholy cocktail of drugs he's huffing from that creepy gas mask. Unlike other villains who have grand plans or twisted moral codes, Frank is just pure, unfiltered evil. He doesn't care about power or money, he just wants to hurt people in the most terrifying ways possible. One moment, he's laughing like a maniac. The next, he's beating someone senseless while screaming profanities. There's no rhyme or reason to his madness, which makes him even scarier. You never know what he'll do next, and that's what makes him unforgettable. Which villain do you think is the craziest of them all? Is it the Joker with his brilliant madness? What about Kefka and his outbursts that may kill the world? Homelander and his God complex, or Walter White, the high school instructor who went from marking papers to poisoning children? Please tell us in the comments, because to be honest, we are simply praying that none of them are watching. And if you liked this in-depth exploration of the most surprising villains, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Otherwise, let's just say that we may have handed Anton Chigurh your address. Don't be concerned, just toss a coin and everything will be well, most likely. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to keep your sanity in check. Or at the very least, more sane than these people.